Here's one that nobody saw coming. Jaguar Land Rover delays the launch of the new electric Range Rover. Oh, no way. Can you believe it? Breaking news. This is an exclusive. Customers are told that the car maker is allowing more time for testing and for demand to pick up. Customers. They've made that up, haven't they? There are no customers. That's the thing. What did they do? Send an email to 3 people that wanted an electric Range Rover. Britain's largest car maker, Jaguar Land Rover, has delayed the planned launches of its new electric Range Rover and electric Jaguar models to give it time for more testing and for demand to pick up, The Guardian can reveal. Jaguar Land Rover has written to customers waiting for the Range Rover Electric. If you are one of those customers waiting for a Range Rover Electric, can you please email me? I'd love to have a chat with you, just to find out why. To inform them that deliveries of the new version of the model will not start until next year, after initially aiming for late 2025. 2 people, I thought that meant 2 people that they'd emailed, but no, that's the next bit. 2 people with knowledge of the car maker's plans, not 2 people who wanted an electric Land Rover. 2 people with knowledge of the car maker's plans said that the 2 planned Jaguar models, much anticipated since the viral pink and blue rebrand, yeah, that went really well, didn't it? Jaguar's new copy nothing by just copying all of the trans stuff that's going on at the moment in the midst of the trans backlash, and it was just a disaster. But it was really good for YouTubers. May also be pushed back by several months compared with the original plans. JLR has been hit by the impact of Donald Trump's tariffs. Yeah, that is true. All right. So the tariffs in America have absolutely screwed the imports of Jaguar Land Rovers to the USA, because people in the USA buy them because they think they're buying British quality when they're actually buying Indian tat. This week it reported in the 3 months to June, after a temporary pause in exports to the US, it's opened a voluntary redundancy scheme for up to 500 managers in an effort to save costs. However, sales are expected to improve after the UK's limited trade deal with the US has provided a lower 10% tariff on the first 100,000 exports. The company's reported a profit for the past 10 consecutive quarters after a turnaround effort. I don't understand how Jaguar... Well, I do know how Jaguar Land Rover make a profit. They sell 3 for 1. So for every car they make, they actually sell 3. They sell the first one and that breaks immediately, and then they have the person back to the showroom and they say, well, I know that one you bought was broken, why don't you have another one off us? And then they sell a second car and the person takes that second car home, and before they've realized that it's broken, it gets stolen. So that's 3, because they have to replace that one as well. So it's 3 for 1 on every Jaguar Land Rover. And that's why Jaguar don't give a crap about how many of their cars are breaking or being stolen, because they're making so much money in the dealerships. And indeed, you know, from selling cars that are absolutely all going abroad, which could be stopped if anybody was bothered. But nobody is. The police aren't interested in car crime, and Jaguar Land Rover aren't interested either, because every time one gets stolen, they get to sell another one. The car maker, owned by the Indian conglomerate Tata, has been more cautious, I can't read this because it's printed in blue, on embracing electric technology than its luxury vehicle rivals. Luxury vehicle rivals, who's that then? So I know Bentley have launched one, and that's then Rolls-Royce, and there's already huge discounts on the Rolls-Royce EV. That had left it in danger of steep fines for failing to hit UK electric vehicle sales targets, which are based on nothing. But that pressure has eased after the UK weakened the rules, known as the Zero Emission Vehicle Mandate, in response to heavy lobbying by car makers, including JLR. A spokesperson said by 2030, so 5 years' time, JLR, Jaguar Land Rover, or, funnily enough, as people are saying online, just Land Rover, will sell electric versions of all its luxury brands. Our plans and vehicle architectures are flexible so we can adapt to make different market and client demands. We're committed to the highest standards of design, capability and quality, just not reliability. And we will launch our new models at the right time for our clients, our business and individual markets. So that's never on the electric one then. Model launch delays of several weeks or even months are not unusual as car makers try to align their products to the market. Try to find somebody that wants to buy a 300 grand electric Range Rover that's going to be worth 12p in 3 years' time and will spend most of its time back at the dealership. Yeah, they're just trying to find someone that wants them and then they'll launch it. Getting the launch date right is particularly important for Jaguar, which JLR is hoping to reinvent as a promotional campaign in December, featuring bright pink and blue concept cars spurred a huge wave of interest, as well as a culture war backlash after a teaser trailer featuring a diverse group of models. I'm not going to go into it. Should we just go into it a little bit? You know, this like diversity thing, yeah. And you got all these youngsters coming up through. You know, we were sat at a bar in Worcester yesterday, and I was just listening to two youngsters next to me, and I was like, that's not the conversations I used to have when I was that age. When I was that age, we were talking about cars and girls, and that was basically it. And I just worry that the generation that's coming through next, you know, the ones that are teenagers now that have been taught you can be what you want to be, even if that's a cat. You know, they've all got ADHD, they've all got anxiety, they've all got depression, they're all confused about their gender, they've all been told that you're special. And when they finish college in the education system, they're going to look around and go, hang on a minute, what do we do now? Because they can't join the workplace because they're so anxious and ADHD and depressed. So what do? Don't know. They ain't buying Jaguars though, because they won't have the money. Unless Motability is going to, no, that's how it's going to work, isn't it? Motability will provide you a car if you've got ADHD, and they'll put you in a Jaguar, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's the people that are going to have the electric Range Rover. They're not going to have a choice. All the ADHD, depressed, transgender teenagers are going to be driving around in 300 grand electric Range Rovers. Make it make sense. A new electric, the start of production for the first Jaguar electric car since the rebrand, known as Type 00, is set for August of next year. It's expected to cost more than 100 grand, and the second Jaguar model won't follow until December the year after, so 2027. Place your bets now, ladies and gentlemen. Do you think we'll ever get to the second electric Jaguar? A new electric version of the Range Rover Velar. The Velar's that one for Instagram and new build housing estates, I think, is also set to start production in April 2026, although it also could be delayed further. The source said an electric model under the Defender sub-brand could start production in the first quarter of 2027. So basically, they're trying to put it off as long as possible because they know that nobody's going to buy them. And JLR declined to comment on specific model launch dates. Yeah, basically, just I know what a JLR spokesman would say. They're basically just trying to kick the can as far down the road, hoping that the net zero thing collapses on the reputation of Ed Miliband. They're all saying. Two people with knowledge of JLR's manufacturing operations said the delays have been caused by the need to carry out extended testing because the electric cars were crap. No, sorry, doesn't say that. Because they are the first electric models to be directly built by the manufacturer. Right, we better test them because we've made them ourselves. JLR previously sold the electric Jaguar I-Pace, that went well, but it was built by a contract manufacturer. One of the people said the delays may not harm JLR financially because they will allow the company to continue to sell its lucrative petrol and diesel hybrid versions, which are lucrative because they were made so incredibly cheaply with cheap engines. People inside JLR have said the delay has worked in our favour, and let's not rush this, the person said. Trump's policies have also made the delay more attractive for JLR because his administration is actively trying to discourage the shift to electric cars in the US, the manufacturer's key market. Trump's brief period of collaboration with Tesla boss Elon Musk has collapsed into planned acrimony. I added the word planned there because I'm pretty sure we're all being played. JLR's slower shift to electric vehicles will also align with the start of production by a battery factory being built by Tata in Somerset. The plant, built by a subsidiary named Agratus, is due to start production in the last quarter of 2027, according to Tata Motors' latest investor call. That's a year later than the company initially planned. So that is electric cars and electric Land Rovers. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you one of the two people that were waiting for an electric Land Rover? Do you have a Velar on finance? Does it have an Ingenium engine, and has it broken? Thank you very much for watching this slightly more serious Geoff Buys Cars video.